This is Pie Uncut, and today we are diving into one of the biggest tech and space deals of 2026. Amazon is making a bold move into the future of connectivity by acquiring satellite communications company Globalstar in a deal worth roughly $11.6 billion. At first glance, this may sound like just another corporate acquisition, but in reality, this deal signals a major shift in the global internet infrastructure race, and it puts Amazon directly in competition with Elon Musk's Starlink. To understand why this matters, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. The world is entering a new era of internet delivery. Instead of relying solely on fiber cables and mobile towers, companies are now building massive constellations of satellites in low Earth orbit, also known as LEO. These satellites can beam internet directly to any location on Earth, including remote areas, oceans, and disaster zones. This is not just about faster internet, it is about global digital access and control over the next generation of communication networks. Amazon has been working on its satellite project, known as Project Kuiper, now rebranded as Amazon LEO. The goal is ambitious. The company plans to deploy around 3,200 satellites by 2029 to create a global broadband network. However, Amazon is still far behind its biggest rival, SpaceX's Starlink, which already operates more than 10,000 satellites and serves over 9 million users worldwide. This is where Globalstar comes into play. Globalstar is not a massive player compared to Starlink, but it holds something extremely valuable. It has an operational satellite network, spectrum licenses, and expertise in direct-to-device communication. This technology allows satellites to connect directly to smartphones without needing traditional cell towers. Think about that for a moment. This means your phone could send messages, access emergency services, or even connect to basic internet functions from anywhere on the planet, even in the middle of the ocean or deep in the mountains. That is the future Amazon is buying into. By acquiring Globalstar, Amazon is essentially accelerating its timeline. Instead of building everything from scratch, it gains access to existing satellites, regulatory licenses, and partnerships. One of the most important partnerships is with Apple. Globalstar currently powers satellite features like emergency SOS on iPhones, and Apple holds about a 20% stake in the company. This creates a fascinating triangle between Amazon, Apple, and the satellite ecosystem. Amazon will continue supporting Apple's satellite services while also expanding its own capabilities. In simple terms, your future iPhone could be powered by infrastructure owned by Amazon, even if you are using Apple's ecosystem. Now let's talk about the competitive landscape. This deal is clearly aimed at one company, SpaceX. Elon Musk's Starlink has a massive first-mover advantage. It has thousands of satellites already in orbit, a growing global user base, and its own rocket launch capability through SpaceX. That last point is critical. Starlink can launch satellites faster and cheaper because it controls the entire supply chain. Amazon, on the other hand, has been slower to deploy. It currently has only a few hundred satellites in orbit and is racing against regulatory deadlines to scale up its network. The acquisition of Globalstar helps close that gap, but it does not eliminate it. Amazon still has a long road ahead. However, Amazon brings its own strengths to the table. It has deep financial resources, a massive cloud infrastructure through AWS, and a global logistics network. When you combine satellite connectivity with cloud computing, you unlock powerful new use cases. Imagine autonomous vehicles in remote regions, global IoT networks, or real-time data streaming from anywhere on Earth. Another important angle here is the direct-to-device market. This is expected to be one of the fastest-growing segments in satellite communications. Instead of selling expensive satellite dishes, companies can provide connectivity directly to smartphones. Globalstar is already strong in this area, and Amazon plans to expand these services by 2028. From a financial perspective, this deal also reflects how valuable satellite infrastructure has become. Globalstar's stock has surged significantly over the past year, and shareholders are being offered around $90 per share in cash or equivalent Amazon stock. The market is clearly betting that space-based connectivity will be one of the biggest growth sectors of the next decade. But there are risks. First, Regulatory approval is still pending, and the deal is expected to close around 2027. Second, the capital requirements for building and maintaining satellite networks are enormous. Launch costs, satellite manufacturing, and ground infrastructure all add up. Even for a company like Amazon, this is a long-term investment with uncertain returns. There is also the question of market competition. Starlink is not standing still. It continues to launch satellites at an aggressive pace, and is even preparing for a potential IPO. Meanwhile, telecom companies and governments are also entering the space race, making this a crowded and highly competitive market. So what does this mean for the global audience and investors? First, this deal confirms that the future of the Internet is moving to space. Satellite connectivity is no longer a niche technology. It is becoming a core part of global infrastructure. Second, it highlights a new battleground in big tech. Just like we saw competition in cloud computing between Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, we are now seeing a similar race in space-based Internet. Amazon is positioning itself as a serious contender, but it still has significant ground to cover. Third, this could have massive implications for emerging markets. Satellite Internet can bring connectivity to regions where traditional infrastructure is too expensive or difficult to build. This could unlock new economic opportunities, improve education, and enable digital services in underserved areas. Finally, for investors, this is a long-term story. The satellite internet market is expected to grow significantly over the next decade, but profitability will take time. Companies like Amazon are investing billions today to secure a position in what could become a trillion-dollar industry. In conclusion, Amazon's acquisition of Globalstar is not just a business deal. It is a strategic move in the global race to control the future of connectivity. It brings Amazon closer to competing with Starlink, strengthens its technological capabilities, and opens the door to new services that could redefine how we stay connected. The next few years will be critical. Watch for satellite launches, regulatory approvals, and partnerships with telecom and device companies. Because the real story here is not just about satellites in space. It is about who controls the Internet of the future.